important is it really to keep an axolotl's water cold? Or is it just a suggestion? Spoiler, it's not just a suggestion, it's one of the main reasons people fail axolotls. So since axolotls are cold water species, they need to be kept in water ranging from 60 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. I find a lot of people underestimate this fact and don't really worry about it too much because that's only a couple of degrees away from room temperature, so they figure room temperature should be enough, right? Wrong. Underestimating this fact is one of the most common reasons people fail at keeping axolotls and end up having to rehome them after a couple of years. 68 degrees Fahrenheit is about as warm their water can get before they will start having fungal issues. So in my last video, I touched on things you'll need to keep the temperature, which could be an aquarium chiller, fans and an air conditioner. If you've got a basement that stays cold all the time, that would be the perfect place for your axolotl tank. Also a thermometer to be able to tell the temperature. I just wanted to touch on a couple other things though too. For a thermometer, your best bet's going to be this kind, but I would suggest a plastic one since these glass ones can be clanked up against the side. I had a friend remind me that she ended up with one leaking into her aquarium. You don't want that happening. I had that happen, but just lost the little weight balls in the bottom, thankfully. Digital thermometers can also be really handy. I just don't keep them because they tend to be a couple of degrees off. These temperature guns can be really handy too if you've got more than one tank. If you go the route of fans, I suggest having a screen lid or an A-crate lid so that you can just set any fan on top of it, because aquarium fans, in my experience, don't work that well. You can just buy any fan and set it on top. One really important tip I can give to new owners is before you buy your axolotl to run what's called a ghost tank in the warmest season in your area to ensure that you can keep the water cold enough. And if you cannot keep cold water, you really shouldn't keep an axolotl. Some people will have to see this video and admit to themselves that an axolotl is not the right pet for them. Unfortunately, unless you can get away with using one of these methods to keep their water in the right range, it's not going to be possible for everyone to keep an axolotl. A lot of people try, they realize after a while that this isn't working, and they'll continue trying for another year until the axolotl has gotten so sick that it's got irreversible damage, and then they'll try to rehome it. Don't be that person. If you know that you can't keep the water cold enough, do the right thing now. Now, what happens to axolotls when they aren't kept in cold water? Well, they'll end up with fungal issues. And when I talk about fungal issues, I mean they will literally grow mold on their gills. After a while, this will eat away at their gill stalks until there's nothing left. This can also leave them open to infections that can become septic, and is a very common issue to be seen in axolotls. What should you look out for fungal issues? You will see a white cottony growth, usually on their gills. I'll be making a video talking about how to treat axolotl fungus. However, if you have gotten it due to having warm water, you're going to need to fix that or no treatment's going to work. Warm water will also cause appetite issues as well as pacing back and forth. Now, there's one cooling method that is quite popular to see in online forums or Facebook groups that I do not suggest and I wanted to talk about here. And that is frozen water bottles. You'll see a lot of people suggesting online to basically just add ice to your tank to cool it down. These animals live 15 years, and unless you can be around 24/7 for 15 years to keep adding ice to the tank, this is going to cause more stress than anything. It makes me sad to see so many people suggesting this to new axolotl keepers who are struggling to keep their water cold, as if it's a sustainable way to keep an axolotl, because it's not. Is it a smart idea to keep some frozen water bottles in your freezer like I do in case you end up with a power outage or anything? Absolutely. They can also be handy for cooling water before doing water changes, especially if you're using tubs. However, you don't want to be relying on it for your tank. The reason this isn't a sustainable way to keep their water cold enough is because having the fluctuations going up and down between replacing the water bottles will actually be more stressful than if you were to just keep them in too warm of water all the time. Basically, this video is to just tell you to not underestimate the fact that axolotls do need cold water. This is something you're going to need to think about, and you should do it before having the axolotl.